All right, today we are jumping into what has to be one of the most audacious matchmaking missions in all of history, and it comes to us straight from the book of Genesis. But listen, this is so much more than just a simple love story. This is a high-stakes diplomatic mission, and it's all built on a foundation of faith, some brilliant strategy, and, well, just unbelievable timing. Seriously, forget everything you know about modern dating. The apps, the awkward blind dates. We are about to meet the OG matchmaker, the man sent on the ultimate quest to find the perfect partner for his boss's son. You could say this is the story of history's greatest wingman.
So, where does this all begin? Well, it starts with the patriarch Abraham. Now, he's getting on in years, he's had a long and blessed life, but there's this one crucial piece of his legacy that's still missing. He needs to find a wife for his son Isaac. And this isn't just about family drama, this is about the entire future of a nation. The mission to secure that future, the stakes couldn't be higher.
So what does Abraham do? He calls for his most trusted servant, the man who runs his entire household, and he makes him swear this incredibly solemn oath. The command is crystal clear. Isaac is absolutely not to marry a local Canaanite woman. No way. Instead, this servant has to journey hundreds of miles, all the way back to Abraham's original homeland, to find a wife from their own people, their own extended family. And this oath, it comes with some seriously strict rules, like 4 of them. First, go back to my country. Second, find a wife from my family there. Third, and this is a big one, she has to agree to come back with you. And fourth, under no circumstances can you take my son Isaac there. So just think about that. The pressure is just immense, right? The odds of actually pulling this off, they seem, well, pretty slim. Now, the servant, being a pretty practical guy, he immediately brings up the most obvious problem. He asks, okay, but what if the woman just says no? What if she isn't willing to follow me? It's a fair question. But Abraham's answer, it just completely changes the game. It elevates this whole thing from a diplomatic mission to a huge act of faith. He's basically saying he's not just sending a servant. He's trusting that God himself will send an angel to pave the way. Okay, so fast forward. The servant makes the long journey and arrives in Mesopotamia. And he's not traveling light. He's got a whole caravan of 10 camels loaded down with expensive gifts. You can just imagine the weight of this mission on his shoulders. He makes a really smart strategic move. He stops at a city well right around dusk, because he knows that's when all the women of the city will come out to draw water. This is it. This is his moment.
So how in the world do you find the one in a whole city of people? Well, instead of just hoping for the best, the servant comes up with this absolutely brilliant test. It's not about looks, it's a test of character. He prays for a very, very specific sign. He asks that the right woman will be so incredibly generous that she won't just give him, a total stranger, a drink, but that she'll also offer to water all 10 of his camels. And this, right here, is where the timing becomes just mind-blowing. The servant has just laid out this incredibly specific, super demanding test in his prayer. You can feel the suspense building, right? And the payoff? Well, it's immediate and it is so dramatic. I mean, get this, he hasn't even finished speaking the words of his prayer to himself. And bam! Right on cue, a young woman named Rebekah shows up with her water jar on her shoulder. The speed of this answer is just, it's astonishing. So he runs over to meet her and he asks, please, can I have a little water from your jar? And without even a second's hesitation, she does it. She lowers her jar and says, drink, my lord. Okay, so part 1 of the test is a perfect pass. But the real question is, will she go that extra mile?
And then it happens. The moment that confirms everything. Right after he's finished drinking, she speaks pretty much the exact words he had just prayed. She says, I will draw water for your camels also until they have finished drinking. She doesn't just meet the criteria. She blows past it, enthusiastically volunteering for this incredibly difficult job that goes way, way beyond what anyone would ever expect. Okay, let's just pause and really think about this for a second. We're talking about 10 camels. Do you have any idea how much a thirsty camel can drink after a long trip? We're talking over 30 gallons each. So this wasn't just some small, polite gesture. This was a monumental act of physical labor, incredible generosity, and just pure strength of character.
So you can just imagine the servant. He's just standing there completely stunned. He's just watching her in silent amazement, probably trying to process what just happened. He's got to be thinking, is this real? Is this it? He's just taking it all in, confirming for himself that this is, without a doubt, the sign he prayed for. His mission really is being guided. And then comes the final crucial piece of confirmation. After she's done all this work, he gives her these expensive gifts, a gold nose ring and 2 bracelets, and then he asks the million-dollar question, whose daughter are you? Her answer is the last piece of the puzzle clicking into place. She is the granddaughter of Nahor, Abraham's own brother. It's just unbelievable. Not only does she have the perfect character, but she's from the exact family line he was sent to find.
Okay, so you might think the hard part's over, right? He found her. But nope. Finding Rebekah was really only half the battle. Now the whole mission shifts gears. The servant has to switch hats, going from a faithful seeker to a savvy diplomat. 'Cause now he has to convince her entire family to let her leave her home forever with a guy she literally just met.
So, he gets invited into Rebekah's home, and her family is super hospitable. They offer him food and everything, but this servant, talk about focus. He flat out refuses to eat or even rest until he's stated his business and gotten an answer. For him, the mission comes before everything else.
And then he just masterfully lays out his case to the whole family. He tells them all about his master Abraham, how wealthy he is, and about the sacred oath he swore. He recounts the whole story, his specific prayer at the well, and exactly how Rebekah fulfilled it, word for word. He's not presenting this as a series of happy coincidences. He's framing it as an undeniable, divinely orchestrated event.
And his argument is just so powerful, the evidence so overwhelming, that her brother Laban and her father Bethuel, they agree on the spot. They look at each other and basically say, this thing has come from the Lord, who are we to argue? They see the hand of God in it all, and they realize they have no grounds to object. They give their full and immediate consent, just like that.
So the family's convinced, which is huge, but the mission still isn't quite over. There is one last crucial piece that has to fall into place. A final choice has to be made, and it has to be made freely. Then there's a long journey to take and a destiny to fulfill.
So the very next morning, the servant is ready to go, like right now. But the family is like, whoa, hold on, let her stay with us for a week or 10 days. When he insists on leaving, they do something pretty remarkable, especially for that time. They say, let's just ask her. They put the final decision squarely on Rebekah. They ask her, will you go with this man? And with total clarity, total agency, she gives her answer. I will go. And just like that, the stage is set for their very first meeting. It's a really beautiful scene. You've got these 2 separate paths, 2 separate lives, about to converge in a field at dusk. Over here, you have Isaac, who's just out for a quiet evening of meditation. And over there, you have Rebekah just arriving at the end of this epic journey, having left behind everything and everyone she's ever known.
The final moments of the story just unfold so elegantly. Isaac looks up and sees the camels. Rebekah looks up and sees Isaac. She modestly covers herself with a veil as they approach. The servant then pulls Isaac aside and, you could just imagine, tells him this whole incredible story of what just happened. And then Isaac brought Rebekah into his mother Sarah's tent, and he married her. The story ends so simply but so beautifully. Isaac loved her, and he was comforted after his mother's death. And there you have it. An absolutely incredible mission comes to a perfect conclusion. A journey that started with what seemed like an impossible oath ends in a marriage that will literally shape the future of an entire nation. And it leaves us with this big question to think about. Was this amazing success the result of a brilliant diplomat's strategy? Was it just sheer destiny? Or was it all the intricate unfolding of a divine design?